What is going on, guys? Mills here, bringing you some fire content on the Fire to 18 channel. And today's video, guys, we are going to be comparing content. So, basically what this vid's going to be about is, well, I want to make a comparison. I wanted to try something new. I thought this would be pretty cool. So, I know I've talked a lot about how MLB 17 had some of the best content in an MLB game ever. But I wanted to see if MLB 18 could still hold up to that challenge. Because I've never full-on tried to compare them. I've just always said MLB 17 was better, but I think now, guys, let's try to see if my, just opinion is true or not. I mean, there is no such thing as a correct opinion, as you guys know, but I am going to be comparing the content of 17 to the content of 18. I want to see if 18 can still hold up. So, yeah, not to hold you up, let's get right into this vid and start off with the comparison of MLB The Show 18. Alright, guys, so starting off with MLB The Show 18's content, we got ourselves started with the Immortals. These are supposedly the best cards you can get in this game, of course. As you can see here, they kind of started out with these main Immortals: Ruth, Robinson, Piazza, Pujols, Griffey Jr., Gibson, Ripken, Jones, Seaver, Ryan, Wagner, Gossage. Those are the main Immortals that they started out with. You never were able to get them, though, for like the first 2 months of the game. I think like you weren't able to get them. You basically had to grind these career arcs first. So they did try doing a little bit of something new there, with like the career arcs and the Immortals. Immortals being the best card, career arcs kind of being like a tier 2 version of the Immortals, but very slightly worse. So yeah, that's basically how they got the best cards in the game for content. But I did like their step-by-step process to get these career arcs, as you had to grind all of these player missions here. So as you can see, you got to do catcher. Maybe even these were the original ones that they started out with, guys. Bronzes and silvers. Those were the first ones they started out with. And then they added golds into the game as well for player art, for player programs, as you could see. And then they added diamond ones as well, like Torres and all that. So you were able to get pretty decent cards just from grinding these player arcs. As you can see, basically I've completed every single one. Basically gotta like get all these done in order to actually kind of do some of these career arcs, just so that you can get their souvenir, thus leading to their immortal. Yeah, guys, so basically getting like souvenirs for programs were the key thing this year, basically. And then they did originally start out with these originals here with Billy Williams, Utley, Carter, Molitor, Doby, Sutton, Ramirez, Torre, Morris, Saberhagen, Smith, and Hoffman. Those were the original guys they started out with in MLB The Show 18. You weren't able to start completing some of them, though. The only ones I think you were able to complete at the time, I believe, were Williams and, Williams, I think, and, Mauder. I'm not even sure. There were definitely not many, though, that you could complete right away. So, yeah, there was that. And then, moving on to the Collector. Now, this is a whole nother dimension here, because basically they have the same old live series ones last year. They did add in a few ones over the whole season. Like they had the Mother's Day one, and you get yourself a 93 overall Eddie Matthews. It's not the worst card, it's not the best card though, but at the time he was a good card to get him. And then you got yourself the camo, which does lead to the Reyes. You know the drill, guys. You basically just get really good cards from exchanging these equipments. But then they added 3 new things in the game. I'm doing, by the way, comparison. So got yourself autographs, just 2 autographs, and bobbleheads. These are the 3 pretty key things this year, man. There are 3 very important things. It's like the bat autographs here. You gotta collect many of them, and you can get yourself some of these. But you don't even have to exchange these if you want to, you know? Like, you can, look here. Like, you need to, do, some exchanges as well. Like, those souvenirs came quite in handy this year for all the programs, because in order for you to complete them, you need to exchange them. So look at this. Say you had, a Brad Hand autograph. It will help you complete towards Alomar, because Alomar used to play for the Padres. So team souvenirs were kind of a pretty key thing this year in terms of content, and it really did bolster the gameplay, in my opinion, a lot. Although they did cost a lot of stubs, and I know it did definitely make it for a long grind, it was still one of the reasons why the game even kept going. And then here we go, we also got autographs as bobbleheads as well, something pretty new to the game as well. Basically, it's like these little guys, they kind of bop up and down. You basically just use those as well to exchange for those career arcs and immortals. Those are pretty cool. And then these are nothing new here, just stadiums, equipment, hats, and jerseys. So moving on to the team epics here, we got ourselves basically the same stuff as last year. They did this also last year in MLB 17. Yeah, remember back in MLB 17, I remember they had, like, obviously it was, like, they were much more of a key factor, though, that year, as you were able to get some of the best cards in the game from them. Obviously, I remember they had, like, a Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. They didn't have that this year. Instead, they made you have to complete, like, the hitting for them by using those players from that team. Same thing with the pitching, and then you had to play, like, a division rival and interleague rival and all that. And you basically had to do a lot of these exchanges as well. So they were pretty key, as you could get some decent players at the time, but, like, now they're really not as worth it. But these program souvenirs do help, because if you are doing, like, certain immortals for career arcs, let me give you a good example here, Ruth. You can exchange Team Epics, and if you have 5 of them, guys, you will be able to even complete them. So Team Epics didn't really have much of an importance this year as they did last year, but they were definitely something cool that they had in the game for sure. Like, I mean, this year I think it was decent if you wanted to complete them and at least get, like, a head start on some of the immortals. But overall, I feel like they weren't as much of an importance as they were last year. But then they added new stuff in Conquest. So obviously, as you guys know, they did have a Conquest Part 2 in 17 where you got Joe Mauer, but they took it to a whole new level here. So when you completed Conquest Part 1, you were able to get yourself, at the start, Joaquin Benoit, but then you slowly rise up, you get better players over the time, and then sooner or later, you get yourself Luis Gonzalez, and he's like the best card you get out of the Conquest normal. And it also gave you a bit of stubs along with the way. And they also even gave you, like, once you completed Conquest, that 10-pack bundle like last year. Yeah, you guys know the drill about this. But then they added Extreme. So Extreme is a pretty crazy addition, I think, to the game. As you can see here, they do give you much better players starting out than 81, but it does giantly boost up to an 86 overall Orlando Cepeda. Very good card right here for sure. Definitely a nice card to pick up, at least in Conquest Extreme. And then you slowly gain more subs while you get more Hershiser than Brian Dozier, who's better than his last series. Yadier Molina was probably a must-buy, I think. A must-pick-up at the time, I think, because he's at 93 overall, of course. You also had really great fielding and all that. And then you also got yourself 92 Matt Kemp at the end, who's probably the only guy worth getting in this one. And 25,000 stubs, so they never had that in Conquest last year. They kind of added more importance to Conquest and more importance to, like, that Steel fans phase, because as you guys know, like, you can, like, easily, like, get more fans that way, and, like, that Conquest Extreme kind of, like, really utilized the Steel fans mode. But not only that, they also added Conquest Destiny later on in the year, which is something I didn't really play. Obviously, it started out with, like, an 87, which is pretty nice, but they weren't exactly the best rewards, as that 94 overall Eddie Murray wasn't the best card to pick up, because of, like, the good old Immortals. Like, it wasn't really worth picking this guy up, but it also just wasn't really worth it. You got some stubs and all, so that was kind of a down for Conquest. I did like that they tried to do something new, though, with the Conquest programs. I thought that Extreme was kind of a success. I didn't think Destiny was good, though. So, yeah. If you wanted to challenge yourself in Conquest, though, I think it's good, but I didn't really think it was a great addition to the content. So then you got yourself Creative Player, guys. This is one where I've been, like, debating. Because at first I didn't do it because I thought it was similar to last year, but it's a whole nother level, guys. So you start out with a 70 overall. You do tally stats at first. You tally a bit of stats. Those are not the stats. I mean, let me actually give you a better example right here. You start out with the 70 over, or with the common 65, and then you slowly rise up. So then you get a 70 overall, then you get a 75, then a 78, then 82. So that's kind of the 4 players you get from grinding stats. And then once you finish the gold one, you get the decision tokens. These allow you to increase stuff at a certain position. So say you wanted to have your player say you picked the acquire 1 second base decision token. You can either use it on contact or power. This allowed you to basically balance out your player and kind of go along like a path that you wanted, to be honest. Like, if you wanted the contact route, you'll get a lot of speed. Then this is another one here where, like, you kind of can focus on the contact, or you can even go balanced as you move on in the game. So that was something I liked about Creative Player this year. I think that was definitely something that was cool. Definitely like the new addition, instead of having to feed a bunch of players and make this 99 overall God Beast, who I think was maybe slightly overpowered. So yeah, that was definitely nice for creative players this year. The only downsides right now, just to recap about the MLB 18 content, the only downside I have is Team Epics, because they didn't really have much of importance this year. I did not mind the addition of these autographs and bobbleheads and jerseys, which, by the way, this is souvenirs and all that. I didn't mind those additions. It just definitely annoyed me how expensive they were going for these career arcs and immortals. But then again, that may have been the focus for MLB 18 this year. to get as many stubs as you can, to grind stubs, to make flipping in the market. They were maybe making you try to earn those stubs. And I'm not even done here with the content. Like, this is so far pretty good, though. And then, right here, you got yourself the finest programs. Definitely, I think just as good as 17, I think. I like the art style. The art style is amazing. The cards are definitely worth grabbing if you even get some. And, I mean, just overall, I feel like it's good. Although last year I feel like it was a little better in terms of getting those finest cards, I feel like this is also just as good as well because of the art style. And not only the art style, but just, like, how comparable they are to Immortals. So the last one we're going to be doing here is timed. So these are all missions that you kind of can grind at the start of the game. You could do these and it would be really easy. So yeah, basically what you did here was you basically, for every month, you had to tally stats a bit with like hitting and pitching and all that, and you kind of did that every single time, and you usually can get some stubs with it and maybe even some souvenirs. But in a way, they were supposed to replace, I think, those My Career stats in 17. I didn't think it was a success in that route, but at least I do respect the idea that I at least tried to do that. So yeah, wasn't a bad idea to really try this. I mean, it was definitely cool that they had, like, that they did definitely add this because it was a good way to get stubs. And especially in the September one, they came out with a surprise and allowed you to get a free diamond with Ted Williams. That was really cool. You were able to get a free diamond in one of them. And then they also gave you the Play and Predict, which allows you to get, like, this card, who's not that bad. He's actually a pretty decent card, so yeah, that was definitely, I think, a good addition. I think that will be 18 this year. Maybe not as good as My Career, but I think it held its own in its own right. So yeah, I think that was pretty cool for what they did with the timed one. And if I had to rate overall the MLB 18 content, I'd say it was pretty solid. Like, they did a pretty good job of, like, adding good content this year. They did try something new with these player programs leading to the career arcs and the Immortals being the best card. Although the execution for the Immortals wasn't great, at least the content was also, like, was just on par enough to kind of, like, make up for its mistake. Alright, guys, so looking at MLB Show 17's content, so basically this is how they organized it. This is a very different way they organized it to 18. They basically made you go down a line of missions and all that. It ended at friendlies, but basically what happened was they started out with this. They started out by kind of having these starter missions and all that. If you did pre-order the game, you can get a gold starter mission and all that, blah, blah, blah. But they kind of organized it a bit differently, as you can see. Like, you had to check your progress, you had to tally these stats and all that. Pretty similar stuff, but this is what they basically did with the finest, like this in MLB 17. They never made you had to buy many of them. You just had to collect them. And this is the one I actually did get. I actually had this Gary Sanchez, but yeah, anyways, you basically had to, like, do a lot of missions, like, for these, and then they slowly progressed your way into the finest program. And then once you completed all these, you were able to get Jose Altuve. So basically, you had to tally a lot of stats. It would take a long time, but it would be much better than, say, like, trying to buy packs with the chance of getting a finest when you may not get one. So yeah, that's what they did for finest. And they also had a thing called Player Epics, something they didn't have in 18. And this is something I kind of enjoyed. They allowed you to get some of the best cards in the game, like, for example, this Brian Braun right here. You can get a 99 overall if you do Epic. If you complete Epic 1, you do Epic 2, and then complete Epic 2. Yeah, you know the drill. And then this is the one where you're able to get the Pepe Alzar. This is the tough one. I was actually on his first Epic. I didn't even try finishing him. Then you basically, like, some of them you were even able to unlock from dailies. Like, I remember, like, if you finished, like, a daily challenge from here, you may have been able to, like some of the rewards may have actually been, like, unlocking a new mission. So yeah, that was pretty cool, and I mean, you were able to get really good cards in the game as well. Like, I remember I actually pulled that Wade Boggs, and I was almost able to get his 98. That's pretty crazy. Like, this is also how you were able to earn those Player of the Month cards back then, mostly from, like, doing these player epics, and that was kind of a really good part of MLB The Show 17. That's something I think that was very that kind of dominated the MLB 18 part of the content, just these player epics. Alright, guys, so let's just get started with the programs they had and kind of how they stylized it. So they had the Diamond program, which is how you were able to get the best card in the game. Let me just try to find him. I think you were able to get, like, you could get like a 99 overall King Griffey, and he was, like, probably the best card in the game. That was something I really liked about it, because if you completed most of these, you were able to at least get close to that 99 Griffey, man. It's crazy how good of a card you were able to get from it. Alright, guys, so Right now we're checking out these programs. So right here we got ourselves the Diamond program. This is how you're able to get the best, one of the best cards in the game. 99 overall, Ken Griffey Jr. He was probably the best card. Like you had to do a lot of stats. You had to do a few exchanges here and there, but they never really costed so much. They didn't really make you pay a lot. They didn't make you have to do feeding. You had to like buy a certain equipment, but that was it. It never made you do anything else in that. And that was something I generally liked about the program's style this year. But then they also had the Dynasty program. This you were able to unlock if you did like say like a lot of other categories. So say like you completed all 30 team epics, you would be able to progress in the Dynasty program. Same thing here if you get like 100 ranked season wins and 100 event wins, it was able to help you out. That was something I generally liked. Like this Dynasty program kind of really like tied every single bit of content together. And if you're able to do a lot of this, you would be able to advance. And also same with these. Like if you completed the program, this would be where it goes to. This Dynasty program is like one mega immortal if you think about it like that. Like you had to do these programs in order to get progress in this one. Look at that. You also had to do the mystery programs. Like these are a few others. Postseason. And then look at that. That's not even. That's Jose Altuve, but it just says question mark. That's weird. But the point I'm trying to make here, guys. Let me actually show you. They had they made you unlock further. I actually did complete the Dynasty program soon, but you were able to get some of the best cards from the game from this. Like you were able to get that 99 Vita Blue, 99 Cal Ripken, and then 99 Bob Feller, who was actually pretty good. And then you got Miguel. He was a beast, guys. You were able to get a lot of 99s doing this, and then that's how you got Joe Random. And not only were you able to get Joe Random, but that Joe Random would lead to a much better card that was a 99 overall. So yeah, I just generally like the Dynasty program for a lot of those reasons, man. That Dynasty program is basically one Ultra Immortal. But anyways, continuing on, basically they started off with these green programs, the Archer and Jones programs. Those were basically like rookie cards. So they basically, for every single two programs they had, there basically would be a flashback. So these are like kind of the rookie flashback programs. They didn't give you much percentage towards the Dynasty program, but if you wanted to do them at the start of the game, since they were actually pretty key, then it was actually kind of helpful. And then they also made you tally stats in online, which also gave you a challenge as well, which I liked. But continuing on, we also had the Drebeck program as well. Cruz, these were two breakout programs. They were able to get you slightly better cards. They gave you like a gold in the end. Same with that Nelson Cruz. Like as the game kind of went on, they kind of kept increasing like how good the cards would be in the program. And then they had Roy Oswalt, who was like a diamond along with Hanley Ramirez. They're not 99 diamonds, but they were at least diamonds that could serve you very well. And then they basically advanced how good the cards can become. So then we had Felix Hernandez and Ryan Sandberg, and these were not that bad. Like they slowly like made the cards get better, as I already said. But like basically you had to complete these missions. Maybe you had to tally a lot of stats. Like not only did the cards get much better, but the missions got harder. Like they were able to find that nice balance of like earning a great card, but still doing a lot of work to get it. Obviously, this one I think wasn't as much worried about you spending a lot of stubs. They only wanted you to put a lot of time into the game, and that's definitely something I got to commend MLB Show 17 for. But continuing on, they also had the Guidry and Robinson ones. Those were basically legends. They were actually 99 overalls both. I can actually show you my team if you want to from 17. But continuing on, they basically were probably the best programs, along with this Harper program, which didn't give you bad cards by any means, but he obviously wasn't the best. But then you continue on, you got Yohan Makata. He was not a good one. He was just a future star. You basically had to do a bunch of stats with him. I never really tried to grind him, although I was getting close in the end. Never tried to grind him all the way. And that reminds me, I actually didn't know I had 10 of these. May as well exchange this and get a reward. Because as you can see, they don't even show you how much you get, like, when you're, like, before the mission. They don't tell you what rewards you get. They just show stubs, tickets, and XP. They don't tell you how much you get of them. That was, like, a cool aspect. That they kind of had a mystery. Like, are you going to get a lot of stubs from this mission? Yes or no? Well, it depends on the difficulty. You have to kind of make a prediction of that. And that was also pretty cool. But then, moving on with the Reggie Jackson one. These were the postseason programs. All three of these. Basically, players who have been clutch in the postseason in the past. I mean, people were actually suspecting a Reggie Jackson Immortal, and while they did have like a exchange version for him in 18, they actually had his own program. And I remember I didn't finish as well because it was a heck of a grind. Like a lot of these were like a heck of a grind, and there's already so many 99s in this game. Like there was a ton of 99s. If you think about it, like these programs and up, they were basically like the Immortals in a way. And then the Dynasty program was one Mega Immortal, like I said. yeah, basically like these cards like were some of the best in the game, and they took a long time to get. And then continuing on here, we also get the Tim Lincecum and Jimmy Rollins programs. These are hardware cards, so in a way they're like the best, one of the better. These two are probably the best program cards in the game. Remember, I think I actually got close to that Lincecum, although I'm not sure. I know I definitely did make a lot of progress there grinding those two. They were pretty tough programs, but overall, I just like the way they progressed the programs in this one. Like they did it like one or two at a time in this one, unlike all at once in 18, which I definitely did like. But then moving on, we got Team Epics. Let me show you how they set it up. So basically, what you had to do was so first you had to beat the team. You had to beat this team, like say the Orioles. You had to beat them on rookie. Then you had to use like the bronze card you got in tier 2, and then you had to finish his mission, and then it would move you on to a tier 3. And then the tier 3 was basically, then you had to tally 3 wins versus CPU on veteran difficulty or higher. That was pretty easy. Like you had to beat him like actually 3 times to do it, and that I also generally liked as well. Made it harder. And then once you reached tier 4, you basically had to, I think like just you had to basically like tally like saves or whatever. You had to like do like gold missions. And then at tier 5, you had to basically collect the team, which also was able to help you. Speaking of which, with the, let me show you right here, the collect mission. So, in a way, that Team Epic kind of helps you out because it kind of forces you to collect cards, thus leading you to even get better cards in the game as well. Like, because if you want to know something from the collect cards, they actually made you, say, like, if you completed one division, say the AL East, you get yourself a 95 Agon. He's one of the better ones in the game if you don't count the program. So, in a way, I liked how the Team Epics kind of made you go for those pretty cool, good cards. In a way. And then moving on, we got Player Spotlight. These are not the best missions in the world, but they definitely did help you in a way of getting stubs. Like, if you earn like some of these cards, like look at this. You earn this guy from just doing the programs. If you do some of these programs, you're actually going to discover missions, and you'll either get a pack or maybe some stubs. It's actually pretty nice in a way. And then some of these missions, like heck, if you collected them, like this David Wright, you were able to get from like one of the standard packs. They made you have to do missions for them, and that, in a way, I found to be cool. And then they also had the Ken Griffey hardware. That was also the best card in the game, by the way. I was talking about when I meant from the Ken Griffey Diamond program. That's what you got. And then basically, if you got some of these cards from those programs, you basically have to tally stats with them and you get some good stubs. Like that part. Then you got My Career. This was no doubt one of the better parts of it, because a lot of these missions would help you out with getting like a lot of stubs in the game, and that in general was just something I generally liked. So, like, I had a lot of these completed. I was grinding these a lot. They were so nice. Like, you were able to do them on the way of doing other stuff. That's why every time you hop into MLB 17 after you're done with the game, like, you were able to just check all of these because you may have finished, like, at least one of them. That I liked. Then they had a separate thing for ranked seasons where if you basically kept placing stuff and you kept tallying stats here, you were able to advance. And then, like, basically if you got to Champion Series or something, you'd earn that reward and all that, and then World Series. That was okay. But yeah, I think you guys will drill. Battle Royale and events, you basically had to tally those stats and all that. They kind of tell you. Then this is Conquest, so basically they made you have to like take over the whole board and all that. But yeah, look at that. They had a Conquest Part 2 where you were able to get that Joe Mauer. And you also had to do other missions as well, but that Joe Mauer specifically was pretty cool. And then they had Play vs. CPU missions. This actually allowed you, I think, to get that Chase Utley, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, you were able to get a Chase Utley just from grinding these, like the 99 All-Star Chase Utley. So, if you didn't really a big fan of online, they at least allowed you to be able to get a lot of those cards offline. And alright, guys, so that's going to end the video. Basically, that was my comparison of MLB 17 and 18. And overall, all I would have to say was that all of those were pretty cool, alright? I gotta admit, those, in a way, the way that the comparisons, like, I feel like 18 had a bit of improvements better than 17. I think what I mean by 18's content, I mean in terms of, like, layout and all that. Like, the layout for how they set it up was cool, and the addition of those player programs and how you had to slowly work your way up to get the Immortals. That part was cool. But then you had 17 here, where you basically, they released it one mission at a time, and then you were able to slowly get better cards. And the fact that they had a lot of 99s helped too, because it actually allowed you to get a really good team in like quick time. So yeah, I think that was generally a good part about 17. 18 definitely did have its good parts though in content, like no doubt. I didn't like that they didn't have a My Career, but I liked that at least every month you were able to at least try to tally stats. So overall, that was a pretty cool thing. But yeah, that's gonna end the video here. If you haven't yet, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. If you want more content like this, please tell me. I will make more content. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next video stream, guys. See y'all later. Peace.